Let's quickly talk about Squarespace. Is it really the best e-commerce platform? I mean, everybody knows that Squarespace has very sleek designs and it's just a wonderful platform, but is it the best? Let's really talk about it. I want to first give you an overview. So we are clear, we are on the same page, we know exactly what we're talking about. So Squarespace is a website builder that is aimed actually mainly at small business owners and solopreneurs. So if you're a big business, if you're a large enterprise, you don't want to use Squarespace at all, okay? And Squarespace was actually created in 2003 as a solution to let people without web development skills build and maintain their own websites, okay? So nowadays you have millions of websites worldwide that actually use Squarespace. And what we love about Squarespace is that it has very powerful e-commerce and marketing features. Okay, and they actually do a lot of stuff in terms of actually you can actually drop ship also with a Squarespace website, but you're gonna have to use some plugins for that, Doba, Deezers, and so on and so forth. And so what I want to say here is that in our view, Squarespace is a great choice for individuals and small businesses who need excellent website aesthetics on a small budget. That's a keyword here. Website aesthetics on a small budget. So for a relatively low fee, the platform gives you access to a wide range of best-in-class templates, simple but effective selling tools, and a user interface that's very easy to use. That's what we love a lot. Simplicity. We love convenience. We love flexibility. We love ease of use. Now, one thing I need to say though, if you're looking for advanced e-commerce applications, there are better solutions out there, especially for site owners who need to sell internationally. So you have the Shopify of the world, you have the Adobe Commerce of the world, you have the Noop Commerce of the world, you have the Wix, you have other players, you have BigCommerce and WooCommerce. Okay. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to quickly go through the pros and cons of Squarespace here. Pros, you have a wonderful templates. You have multilingual features. You have great integrations. You have also logo design capabilities. You have transaction fees that are really easier to understand. A pricing strategy a pricing tier that is very transparent. And Squarespace also offer unlimited storage and bandwidth. What about the cons? The cons, you don't have the GDPR compliance. It's kind of poor. Okay, payment gateway options are quite limited, and overall the customer service options for Squarespace are kind of they could be better. Let's just put it that way. So this is not an exhaustive list, but I just want to give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into if you were to go with Squarespace. Let's talk about the process here, okay? And so how does Squarespace really work? So the thing is, first of all, when you think about Squarespace, you got to think about a hosted solution. In other words, Squarespace is a SaaS, is a software as a service solution, okay? So basically, it means that Squarespace run on its own servers, and you don't have to pay for a hosting service. You don't have to install software. You don't have to do anything. I mean, when you compare this to Noop Commerce, for example, where you have to download software, with Squarespace, you don't have to do anything, okay? So basically, you can be in Acapulco and still actually manage your Squarespace online store. You can be in Bali. You can be in Salvador de Brazil. You can do a lot of things. You can be anywhere and really manage your online store. The platform lets you create a website in a web browser without coding and edit it easily thanks to its user-friendly content management system, okay? So basically, the process works this way. So number one, you have to pick a template. And so once you pick a template, you have to click on the bits of the design you want to change, and then you have to adjust control. What will happen here is that the Squarespace has something called adjust controllers. So use the adjust controllers in the style editor to do so. And the editor is very simple to use, so nothing complicated here, okay? By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. This is a Squarespace review, an in-depth review to sort of give you the breadth and depth of Squarespace in terms of features and capabilities. Okay. Now, so what I want to say here is that Squarespace is really great in terms of user friendliness. For example, you can actually click on some text and apply a new typeface. You can click on a background and change its color and so on and so forth. But although Squarespace gives you a lot of control over your site's design, it's not necessarily a website builder that encourages its users to change things, when it comes to changing things real quick or all the time. because Squarespace wants you to really keep things simple for yourself and for them too. Because the whole idea is that you pick a template, make a few design changes, add some content, and hit the publish site button. Okay, that this simplicity is a key part of Squarespace's appeal. So this is really what you have to think about. So if this simplicity, if this convenience appeals to you, then I would say yes, you might want to consider Squarespace as you're considering e-commerce platforms. Let's talk about pricing here. Okay, now let's have a conversation about pricing. What are you can see on the screen here the Squarespace plans and pricing as of the date of this show. So like most site builders, you don't own a copy of Squarespace, right? But rather you are paying an ongoing fee to use it. That's the SaaS business model. Okay, there are 4 Squarespace pricing plans available, all of which provide you with unlimited storage, meaning that you can add as much content as you like to your site, and unlimited bandwidth, meaning there are no restrictions on the number of visitors to your site. This is really important because when you're small, you don't really see the importance of bandwidth limitation. But once you start scaling, once you start growing, once you start generating like crazy traffic, and if you have a builder or a service provider that limits your bandwidth, you're going to start really feeling the pain really big time in your budget, in your wallet. Okay, so Squarespace really mitigates that challenge or that conundrum by giving you unlimited bandwidth. So the available plans are personal, business, commerce basic, and commerce advanced. Okay, so in our view, based on the analysis we have actually done, Squarespace is slightly more expensive to get started with, okay, than some competing solutions, for example, Wix or Shopify. But if you pay upfront for 1 year, discounts of 24% to 30% are applied to the fees you'll be paying, okay, depending on the plan. Okay, now there are key differences between Squarespace plans in terms of e-commerce functionality, transaction fees, adding CSS and scripts, contributors, integrations, okay, marketing features, site analytics. So it really depends on what you're trying to get yourself into, and most importantly, what you're trying to get from your Squarespace website or online store. Okay, but let me give you an example. So if you are, let's say, the contributors. So the personal plan lets 2 people edit your site or add content to it. All the other plans let an unlimited number of contributors do so. So you have to ask yourself how many folks are going to contribute to your website editing, okay? And integrations. So connections to certain third-party apps and services like OpenTable, ChowNow, Amazon, and MailChimp are only available on the business or higher plans, okay? The Facebook Pixel can only be used on these plans too. Let's quickly talk about the templates and design features, okay? Now, Squarespace really, because a lot of folks, I was just telling you earlier about the fact that Squarespace just wants you to pick a template and actually do a little bit of editing and then publish as is, okay? So what what about the quality? Let's talk about the quality of templates. Template quality is key when it comes to good web design, particularly if you're not a professional designer. Okay, with a range of about 150 to 200 Squarespace templates available, you are having a large choice, a varied choice. Okay, in our view, Squarespace templates are generally attractive. Nearly all the templates provided have a sleek, contemporary look and feel, and so they really significantly outclass the offering from many other similar hosted website building tools, including Shopify, BigCommerce, and WooCommerce. Okay, and so now Wix has about 800 templates, but they're not as sleek as Squarespace is. Okay, WordPress has about 10,000 to 11,000 templates, but they're not as sleek as Squarespace is. Okay, so it's really important to really mention that. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm having a conversation with you about Squarespace. This is a Squarespace review. I'm explaining everything to you so you have a clear idea about what we are speaking about. Now, stock images in Squarespace, those images are kind of cool. Okay, they're really varied also. And so a nice thing about Squarespace is that it provides you with access to all of Unsplash's image library out of the box. This lets you browse a large number of royalty-free images, over $1 million pictures, in fact, that can be added directly and easily to your website. Okay. In terms of typeface selection, you also have access to 1,000 web fonts from Adobe and 600 from Google. Okay, so those are included with Squarespace. So you can browse fonts in Squarespace, not a problem. And you can actually have a mobile responsive website. So your Squarespace website will actually be fully responsible. That meaning that your site will appear correctly on tablets, mobile devices, and desktop computers. Not a problem. Okay, and in addition, you can use AMP with Squarespace. In other words, accelerated mobile pages. Okay, you can style templates. You can actually you have a video backgrounds. It's important to understand that video backgrounds is really great when it comes to Squarespace, because you can actually turn an already nice looking Squarespace template into a stunning one. Okay, and just to close on this section, I just want to say that you can also design logos with Squarespace. This really tells you about the breadth and depth of functionalities of a Squarespace, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. And they have recently introduced also some AI functionalities. So overall, when it comes to templates and design features, Squarespace is really up there and really big time. Let me talk to you about CMS. So let's talk about content management in Squarespace. There are lots to like about CMS in Squarespace. There are a few negatives, but really, our opinion on this front is just positive. For example, you can do a lot in terms of content layout. So when you set up a new page in Squarespace, you can choose from a range of predefined page layouts. For example, contact pages, about pages, team pages, and this can really speed the design process up. Okay, so this is kind of cool. Those predefined layouts are extremely helpful to website building novices who are not familiar with the best ways to actually prevent redundancy and to present the content effectively. So once you have selected, let's say, a page layout, you will find that Squarespace is a fluid engine drag and drop editor is very easy to use, letting you insert content sections, blank or predefined content areas containing images, for example, right? You have texts, you have forms, you have videos, anywhere on the page. So this is kind of cool. And one thing I want to say here is that you are able to add a lot of stuff when it comes to your CMS on Squarespace. You can add images, not a problem. Okay, the way Squarespace lets you work with images is a key plus when it comes to using the platform. Its image manipulation and management tools are really strong. You have blogging features, also not a problem. You can actually use Squarespace for blogging. This is not a problem, and it's really important. You can use the tool also for importing and exporting content and products. Yes, this is really possible. You can for imports, not a problem at all. For exports, not a problem also. You can use charts, but not table. This is kind of important also. There are some navigation limitations though, but at the end of the day, if you wanted something that is not too sophisticated, Squarespace is the way to go. You also have version history in Squarespace. This really is great in terms of helping you understand that. So what I want to say here is that unlike Wix and WordPress, Squarespace does not automatically keep a library of changes to your website. This means that if you accidentally mess up a page, or worse, permanently delete it, you cannot restore it. You cannot restore an earlier version of it. Okay. In terms of creating multilingual versions of a Squarespace website, this is totally possible. Okay. Not a problem at all. So overall, what I want to say here is that in terms of CMS, Squarespace is big up there. It's fantastic. What about integrations? Let's talk about integrations with other apps. Now, integration with other apps are plentiful. Okay, so you have a built-in integrations because Squarespace they do offer several built-in integrations with key web applications. So you can actually incorporate apps and services like Amazon, MailChimp, OpenTable, and ChowNow, plus quite a few others into your website in lots of useful ways. Okay, and you will need to be on a business plan or higher though to get full access to some integrations. However, Squarespace does have extensions, so they do provide extensions for their platform, a range of paid paid for add-ons that provide extra functionality for your website. So the number of extensions is currently small. At the time of this show, there are only 31 to 50 add-ons available. To put this in context, I want you to really think that you will find more than 600 similar apps and integrations available for Wix, and 1,300 to 1,500 for BigCommerce, and more than 8,000 for Shopify. Okay, so this is what it is. But what I want to say is that said, the extension on offer from Squarespace are useful. You also have Squarespace Zapier integration. Okay, so this is kind of cool also. And you have some Squarespace plugins. Those are also important. What I want to say here is that when we talk about Zapier integration, if a built-in integration or extension is not available to help you get Squarespace talking to a particular app, then you might find the Squarespace Zapier integration a good option. Okay, so just to kind of remind you, Zapier is a tool that lets different apps share data with each other based on if this, then that, the IFTTT rules that you define. And Zapier lets you connect Squarespace to over 1,000 other apps. Okay, so this is kind of cool. And in terms of integration with social media accounts, connecting Squarespace to social media accounts is very straightforward. Nothing complicated there. You simply add your accounts in your website settings, and Squarespace really will take care of the relevant icons and feeds, pushing content automatically to selected social networks if required. Okay, and you can add social links in Squarespace, not a problem. So all the most popular social media networks are catered for in Squarespace, including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Let's talk about the value added here. So what is the value that Squarespace is really added here? Well, you have data capture and forms. So data capture is really quite essential, because data capture is one of the most important features of any website, especially in this era of inbound marketing. Okay, so a robust approach to data capture is absolutely vital to generating leads and clients. Okay, so Squarespace really help you a lot in that department, because you are basically able to look at things like have a great strategy around your email address marketing, or email marketing to be more concise. You can actually integrate MailChimp, not a problem. You can integrate Zapier, you can integrate Google Drive, and you can also take care of Squarespace's email campaigns tool. So this is really cool. And what I want to say here is that in terms of form storage options, you can also integrate Google's reCAPTCHA service into Squarespace data capture forms easily, which helps reduce spammy form submissions. Okay, and you are able to actually to scale up things in real time in terms of email marketing functionality. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that when you think about Squarespace, specifically when you think about the value added, you have to think about the editing HTML and CSS on a Squarespace website. This is pretty straightforward. Nothing complicated here also. Okay, HTML, you are adding widgets and code blocks. For CSS, you are styling your websites. Okay, for code injection, you also have a Squarespace that has the capabilities to help your store do things real quick. So again, it's all about functionalities. It's all about being quick. Okay, now what about e-commerce in Squarespace? Not a problem at all, because the e-commerce functionality in Squarespace is pretty strong. It's very easy to create, edit, and manage products and product catalogs. Okay, you can also definitely create an attractive online store with the platform, and that's and one that's very easy to maintain, because it's not about just creating a store. You have to be able to maintain it. So adding products to a Squarespace store is very easy. You have a user-friendly shopping cart system. You have the ability to sell an unlimited number of products. You have the ability to sell physical goods, digital goods, services, and subscriptions. You have a 0% transaction fee on commerce plans. You have automatic abandoned cart recovery on commerce advanced plan. You have gift cards and discount codes. You have customer accounts. You have a basic point of sale functionality. So this is really, really cool. So you do have access to a large constellation of processes. So overall, fantastic. Really, really fantastic. let's close today's conversation by talking about the rivals. Okay, so when we talk about Squarespace, I mean they're not the only player in this conversation. You have a lot of players also, and it's really important to understand that when we talk about Squarespace, we're talking about not only Squarespace as a whole, but also Squarespace working in conjunction with other players in this industry. Okay, so when you think about the alternatives, of course you have Big Cartel, Jimdo, GoDaddy. You have Moonfruits, you have Weebly. Okay, so if content management is a key concern for you, then you want to go with the WordPress. Okay, but if you are looking for if you're looking for like blogging, then you want to go with WordPress. If you want to have an all-in-one sort of e-commerce platform, go with Shopify, go with BigCommerce, go with WeCommerce. Okay, now BigCommerce and WooCommerce, go with Wix, for example. Okay, and so it really depends on what you're really thinking about. So as far as selling online goes, those are the best website builders. Okay, but if you really care about, let's say, slick templates, if you care about aesthetics, then you want to stick with Squarespace. If you really care about pricing, then you want to really actually do you want to go with Big Cartel, for example. You want to go with Equid, for example. You want to go with other players like a GoDaddy. They're a lot cheaper. You want to go also, like, you have a lot of other players out there. You want to go with Jimdo. Those are cheaper. Okay, here is the decision I want you to really think about. So overall, Squarespace is really great for you. If you are an individual or a small business, if you're looking for a platform to build your store or your site with, okay, the templates and content management features are strong, the learning curve is gentle, and it's an extremely reliable website builder. It's worth highlighting, however, that Squarespace is particularly good for two main applications: running a brochure website or hosting a portfolio site. So if you are an artist, photographer, or a musician, or building a website for a one-off events like a wedding, you will find Squarespace to be a great choice of platform for building your site and maintaining in the future. It's also a very good choice for restaurant websites. Photographs of meals and menu layouts can look fantastic in the context of a well-chosen Squarespace template. Okay, and thanks to its e-commerce features, businesses needing a simple online store or shopping cart system may also find Squarespace a good solution. And because it is a hosted solution, using Squarespace doesn't require you to worry about things like server updates or security, other than taking the usual precautions around passwords. Okay, so this brings a lot of peace of mind to your operation. So it is what it is. So you have it here, you have it. And hopefully this will help you to really actually make the right decision in terms of whether or not Squarespace is the right product for you, is the right solution for you also. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation about Squarespace, I gave you all the ins and outs of this service. We have the overview, the process, the pricing, the templates and design features, the CMS, spoke about the integrations, the value added, the rivals, Squarespace competitors, and the decision you have to make whether or not Squarespace is a go or no go. Thanks. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.